Amigos, queridos amigos.
Buenos días, Lilia.
Buenos días, estamos transmitiendo desde 1470 AM, 96.9 FM y Café con Leche en YouTube también. Gracias por estar con nosotros. Les habla Lilia Galindo, me acompaña Thomas Elias. Él es un analista político y también escribe en 77 periódicos de California 2 veces a la semana. Aquí en el Antelope Valley Press 2 veces a la semana. Good morning, Tom. What topic do we have for today? Tell me.
Well, I think the salient topic in California right now is money and politics. Take the election for mayor in Los Angeles, where until a few weeks ago, the clear-cut leader was Karen Bass, who's a pretty well-known congresswoman from the south central part of Los Angeles and Culver City as well, her congressional district covers. And in second place was a city councilman named Kevin DeLeon, who formerly was the president of the state senate. And then he got termed out, and when he had to leave the state legislature, he ran for the LA City Council, and he's now serving there. Well, into the race comes a developer named Rick Caruso, who's never held a political office, but he has a fortune estimated at $4 billion.
Wow.
So in the last 2 months, Mr. Caruso has spent $10 million on television ads, and you've probably seen some of those.
Yes.
If you watch baseball games or if you watch popular TV shows, they're all over the place. You can't miss them. And as a result, where in a poll taken right after he entered the race, Bass had about 21% of the vote, and Caruso had about 3%, and DeLeon was coming in at around 7 or 8%. Now, Caruso and Bass are tied at 24%.
Wow.
That means that if that poll is accurate, and it turned around many thousands of voters, to get to 24% in the poll, he would have had to spend $153 per voter to get there. That's a lot of money for one vote, for one office. But there's no law that says he can't spend $10 million. And there's no sign that he's going to let up. He's going to spend a lot more than that. And the chances are he and Bass are well ahead of any of the other candidates. The chances are that Caruso gets into the runoff. Now, he promises to end homelessness. He promises to end crime. He promises and promises the same promises that every candidate makes. But, nobody has a real answer to these things. We've always had crime. And to a degree, we've always had homelessness. We used to call the homeless hobos or bums or things like that. Now it's not politically correct to call them that, but it's basically the same people or the same type of people. And then there's other places where money. Well, you want to...
Yeah, let me translate all that, because otherwise I'm going to forget. Bueno, nos está hablando de cómo el dinero está influenciando la política, o cómo ha influenciado siempre la política aquí en los Estados Unidos, pero dice, en el caso de la ciudad de Los Ángeles, están corriendo para ser alcalde de Los Ángeles. Dice, hay una congresista que se llama Karen Bass, que es muy conocida, ha estado en el Congreso por muchos años, y ella también representa ahí por el área de Culver City y otras alrededor. Dice, ella tenía en la primera encuesta aproximadamente un 21%, cuando empezaron las encuestas, porque es una persona que tiene mucho reconocimiento en la política. Luego salió como candidato Kevin DeLeon, que él fue anteriormente líder del Senado del estado de California, pero se le expiró su término y tuvo que dejarlo. Entonces corrió como city concejal de la ciudad de Los Ángeles y ganó. Y en las encuestas él aparece para ser alcalde aparecía con un 7%. Pero luego vino un súper rico que se llama Rick Caruso, que tiene aproximadamente $4 billones en su fortuna, y ya se ha gastado 10 millones en comerciales de televisión. Empezó él con un 3% cuando se prepararon las primeras encuestas con estas estadísticas que le dije, y en la última estadística ya está empatado con Karen Bass, con la congresista Karen Bass, a un 24%. Y se ha estimado que ahorita lo que le está saliendo cada voto sería $153 por cada uno de los votos. Es mucho, mucho dinero. Y él también promete, como todos los candidatos, acabar con el problema de las personas sin casas, con el crimen. Dice, porque siempre los candidatos prometen este tipo de cosas, pero en la verdad nunca las han resuelto. Okay, you can continue now, please.
There are other places where money really talks in politics. For instance, just yesterday in the state legislature, there was a committee hearing scheduled on a bill that would have required the insurance commissioner and other top members of the state insurance commissioner's office to publicly discuss any meetings and communications they have with insurance companies. Basically a transparency bill, so we know who's dealing with who in the insurance regulation business. Well, that bill was in the Assembly Insurance Commissioner yesterday, and it never even got a vote. There was a motion to vote on that bill, but nobody seconded the motion, so it never got voted on. And as a result, and that's the result, in my opinion, of the fact that the members of that committee have taken a total of, in the last year, of $1.5 million from insurance companies for their campaign funds. Are they going to vote against the people that are trying to help them get elected? Not likely. But that's what happens in politics. There were two other bills in that committee one that would have required insurance companies doing business in California to tell the public what their investments are in fossil fuel companies. And another that would require insurance companies to offer insurance to people who live in wildfire areas. Right now, if you need insurance and you live in an area that the insurance companies say might have a wildfire, you have to buy from the state emergency fund, emergency plan. And that costs about 5 times as much for homeowners insurance. And most people can't afford that. So a lot of people are having to sell their houses in these outlying areas. And there are other places. There's a bill in the legislature right now that would force the two big state retirement systems, CalPERS and CalSTRS, the California Public Employees Pension Fund and the California State Teachers Pension Fund. Those are the two funds. They have a total of over $9 billion invested in fossil fuel companies. And there's a bill that would force them to divest, to sell off their stock in companies like Chevron and Exxon and the big oil companies. And instead, they would be forced to invest in green companies that do wind energy and solar energy and things of that sort. Just watch that, because the oil companies are putting a lot of money into fighting that bill. And because if suddenly somebody sells off $9 billion worth of their stock, it's going to really drop the price of the oil company stocks and of all the oil company stocks. So we see that money in so many places is a huge influence in politics, and you decide if you think that's a good influence or a bad influence. I happen to think it's a very destructive influence.
Absolutely. Bueno, nos está hablando de algunas propuestas de ley que van a impactar, dice, que iban a ser de la Comisión de Seguros. Y dice, lo que está pasando es que hay un montón de compañías que le dan dinero o apoyan las campañas de todos los que están representando ahí en el estado los que están representando a la comunidad, ¿no? La asamblea los asambleístas y los senadores. Ellos reciben dinero de estas compañías petroleras, un montón de dinero, entonces obviamente no quieren hacer nada que ataque a las compañías. Entonces se presentó un proyecto de ley que incluso solamente lo propuso una persona y ya ni siquiera hubo una segunda. Para que se pueda votar una propuesta de ley, tienes que decline. Para que se pueda pasar una ley, se requiere que una primera persona haga la propuesta y luego haya una segunda y luego se vote para ver si la mayoría lo aprueba. Pero en esta ocasión, definitivamente nomás se hizo la primera y ni siquiera hubo nadie que la secundara. Y dice, pues esto se debe al conflicto de interés que tiene porque sus campañas, las compañías petroleras les financian para que puedan ganar, cómo pueden votar en contra de ellos, ¿no? Dice, otra propuesta de ley que afectaría a CalPERS, que es el Fondo para los Trabajadores del Gobierno de California, y para el Fondo de Trabajadores de los Maestros. Aproximadamente tienen 9 billones invertidos en compañías petroleras. Entonces, esta propuesta que se pone como ley, que quieren pasarla como ley, afectaría a ellos porque quieren que vendan esas inversiones, ese stock que tienen en esas inversiones y que la pasen a otras que ya sabes que no sean energías limpias. Lo que afectaría sería el precio de las acciones a nivel comercial. Tom, the time is gone. I'm so sorry. It's
like... So there's one message.
Okay.
If you get a chance to vote on any measure that limits what can be spent in politics by individuals or by corporations, vote for it. That's the real message here. That's the only thing we can do about this.
El mensaje que les quiero dejar, si tienen la oportunidad de votar, que se pongan límites a las contribuciones que hacen las compañías o que hacen las personas a las campañas, les recomiendo que voten que sí para que podamos tener una elección más limpia. Thank you so much. Hasta la vista. Bye bye.
Hasta la vista, Lilia. Bye bye.